Oh, we're good.
Oh,
Okay. Hi. All right.
hello.
Oh, let me just close my window. So unprofessional again. Let me
No
just
stress.
give me a minute. All right. Let's get this podcast in place going. All right.
From Alaska Teen Media Institute, this is Podcast in Place, Youth Stories from Quarantine, a series about youth in Alaska during COVID-19 pandemic. We're bringing you stories, interviews, audio diaries from teenagers and young adults stuck indoors without anything else to do. I am ATMI producer AJ Yambao, recording this on my phone in my tiny closet, since the main ATMI studio is closed for the time being. Back in April for one of our first episodes, ATMI senior producer Quinn White shared her story about being in college in New York City when coronavirus cases were starting to rise. She made her way back to Alaska safely and has spent the summer here. Now that cases are down in New York and the fall semester is here, Quinn is returning to college. Except she's not going back to Mount St. Vincent in the Bronx. She's headed to another pandemic hotspot, Los Angeles. Fellow senior producer Daisy Carter connected with Quinn over Zoom on August 7, 2020, to talk about her move.
So, just to start off, how has your quarantine been so far, like in Alaska? Like, what have you been doing?
It's been really weird. So I've been going to school in New York for the last 2 years. So I've been living and working in New York. And when I came back to Alaska, I had a really hard time figuring out my unemployment because it was super weird. And I had to it took me like 8 weeks to get my unemployment check. So I've been spending a lot of time this summer just kind of hanging out, doing ATMI stuff, waiting for that unemployment check to finally come. I got a gig house sitting for my neighbor, so I've been staying here. But for the most part, I've just been kind of keeping it low key, trying to not go crazy and get ready for my big move this fall.
Yeah. So, if you can just kind of tell me, like, why are you moving to LA?
Yeah, so this fall I'm transferring to the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. I'm going to be studying journalism down there. And I decided to go down there because, obviously, because I'm going to school there, I could have stayed here for school, but the way it worked out with my financial aid and everything, it just made more sense for me to just go ahead and move down there. And also, I would much rather be doing online school somewhere sunny and warm and beautiful than like my parents' house.
So, what has been the process of moving from like Alaska to Los Angeles?
I couldn't get like on campus housing this fall because of like COVID, and like they're not having any in-person classes. So I've been trying to figure out like getting an apartment. This is my very first time ever getting an apartment. So I've been trying to figure out things like ordering furniture and like what renter's insurance is, and like trying to figure out how to like put like utilities in my name and stuff like that. So it's just been a lot of like figuring out like the logistics. And now in the next week I need to start like packing and getting everything together. This isn't my first cross country move, but this is definitely like my first like steps into like real people adulthood. Like I hate the word adulting because I think it's stupid, but like yeah, I've just been trying to figure out how to adult a little better over quarantine for sure.
How do you feel about moving to LA? That is a hot spot for COVID-19 while, this pandemic is happening.
To be honest, the thing that I'm kind of excited about to be there is that a lot of people in California take COVID way more seriously than they do in Alaska, because that's a huge problem we're having up here is like people don't want to wear their face masks in the grocery store, and they're like people are still going to parties and stuff. And honestly, it makes me feel a little bit more at ease knowing that I'm going to be somewhere where you have to wear your mask in the grocery store, and you have like they have a lot more rules and regulations. And I think once like I'll be like in my own place, I'll have a lot more control over like the people that come into my home and like the people I come in contact with. So honestly, I think I might feel a lot safer down there, even though it is a bit of a hot spot. They do take things a lot more seriously there.
What preparations have you made to protect yourself while moving to LA? I mean, I can't even imagine like, having to move like all like your clothes and all your like kind of personal possessions like on an airplane. Like, do you have like a plan on like how to like disinfect like the area or something like that?
Honestly, I've been really stressed out in the last week because I'm supposed to go a week from yesterday. So I'm about 7 days out, and I've been really stressed because things in the last couple weeks have got so much worse in Alaska. And my fear has been that I'm going to get all the way up and like, I'm going to be just about ready to go. And then like, I won't be able to go because like I get sick or someone like close to me like comes down with coronavirus. So I've just been really trying to be really careful about who I see and where I go before I go on my trip. And like as far as like getting all my stuff there, like the only things I'm really taking with me are my clothes, and just about everything else I'm either gonna have to like ship to my new apartment or like buy once I get there. And the thing that's gonna be really hard for me once I get there is like I have to quarantine, but also like I am moving into an apartment, like I don't have anything there. So I just kind of have been trying to figure out a game plan once I get to LA so I can get everything I need at the least amount of places. So I can get what I need and then hunker down for a couple weeks in quarantine.
What are you most excited about to move like, down to LA?
Honestly, just kind of have like the comfort, like the comforts and like opportunities that like the lower 48 has. Like it's going to be really nice to be able to go places like Dunkin' Donuts and Trader Joe's and like places that I really like going to when I'm at school. And like that sounds like, I know that sounds kind of silly, but honestly, like it makes me like all the little things make me really excited. I'm really excited about the weather. I'm excited about living in a more fashionable city. I just all around am just really excited for this new chapter of my life.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I think personally this is like completely off like topic, but I think we should take down the Sam's Club that is in Tacotinu and make that into an In-N-Out Burgers. Like I really like that was big space for that.
I swear, after I gotta get off the airplane, first stop, In-N-Out. Yeah. Man, so good.
What are you least excited about moving to LA?
I'm just overwhelmingly and incredibly nervous. Like I said, there is just so much riding on this move. And like I said, like I've just been so nervous for the last few weeks about getting sick. But yeah, I think just like the anticipation and all my nerves are starting to really get to me. Yeah, I would say that I'm a little bit more excited than nervous. It's just, it's just really daunting, the idea of going somewhere where it is a hot spot, like where things are still really bad. But honestly, I'm just really hoping everything's fine.
Yeah, and I'm sure they will. Like I'm sure like everything, especially with like how like again, like you mentioned, how California has kind of been taking it a little more seriously and kind of, taking like preparations and precautions for that.
For sure.
Can you talk a little bit about how schooling is going to be like?
Yeah, absolutely. So every single day we get new emails that say, I mean, this is how it is for all people in college and just like kids in school right now. But Originally, I was told in June that we were going to have in-person class. And then a bunch of people like signed leases and made plans to go to LA. And then 3 weeks later, they reversed their decision. So all these people have been trying to get out of like leases and stuff. And it's been super chaotic, like on like the student life kind of portion of things. But also, they said that most classes would be online, but there were like a couple of exceptions. I'm taking 6 classes this semester, and I think like one like there was like a discussion period of this one class that I was taking that was supposed to be hybrid, but we got another email either this morning or yesterday that said that they decided to not even have those classes that they like labs and like performance classes and stuff in person. Absolutely everything is online. So it's going to be really weird once I get on campus. I was just reading an email before I got on the Zoom with you that said that like you're not allowed to really like walk around on campus like unless like you have like a purpose there, unless like you have to like go through certain like security checkpoints and stuff. And I'm just kind of, really worried about what it's going to look like when I actually get there, because we keep hearing like all this different stuff, but who knows what it's actually going to be like once we get there. I've been thinking a lot about what it's going to look like this fall as far as like making friends at a brand new college and stuff. And that the idea of that makes me really nervous, because it's not really going to be like how it's been in years past, where it's really easy to make friends like casually. It's not like we can even really hang out, especially like in LA. So it'll be interesting for sure. I think it's just something that I'll have to get used to and like kind of roll with the punches a little bit.
Like, can you kind of mention like the differences between moving, like when you moved to New York versus, now moving to LA, kind of what's been like the difference?
I went to school at the College of Mount St. Vincent in the Bronx in New York for my first 2 years of school. And I lived in a dorm there. So it was like, it's pretty like easy peasy. Like looking back at it, like life is pretty sweet in the dorm. Like you don't really have to do much. And like my dad came down with me when I moved into my dorm, so it was really easy to make that transition. But now I'm gonna go down to California by myself, and I'm gonna go like move into like a real people apartment and have to take care of like real people things. So it's just gonna be a whole different ball game. And I keep asking myself, like sometimes I find myself going like, why am I so stressed? Why am I so nervous? I've done this before. And then I find myself also saying, but I haven't really done this before. Actually, this is totally different. Like, yeah, just strange times we're living in, I suppose. But yeah, I'm hoping this can be an easy transition.
Well, I wish you the best.
Thank you, Dave.
And moving to LA.
Well, you spent a summer there, right? Do you have any recommendations for me?
Any recommendations? Oh my God. Well, I usually go down there every summer. This is actually fun fact of the day. This is the first summer in 10 years where I'm not going to California. Yeah, which is crazy. And what's funny is that, my sister, we usually spend like her birthday down there. So like, it was kind of weird, like having her birthday up here, but yeah. Any recommendations? I mean, definitely the metro system. I did an internship down there for about 2 months, and I went from like one side of town to the other side of town, or not side of town, I guess, like a side of LA. It was 2 separate. It's from Whittier to Encino, which like Whittier, it was kind of like an Anchorage, an Eagle River. Like it was a very like low, like, chill. And then Encino is like Calabasas, and like where you like see like a bunch of famous people. So it was like,
dang.
Yeah. So it was like a really weird thing. Like I had to be like dressed nice, but I was like on the bus. So it was just really funny to see those people. And like you obviously like lived in New York, you like know like the metro system down there, and I heard that it's like insane.
I'm a little nervous. I've heard that the public transportation in LA isn't the best. I know me and you were talking about that the other day. I don't drive, so I'm a little nervous, but you know what? I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I definitely think the biggest recommendation, at least for me, is not to drive because traffic is insane. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like for to get to on the bus and train and metro and like all that stuff, I had to go on a bus that took me to a train that took me to an underground metro that took me to a bus, and then I went off on a bus stop, right? So the whole shebang, and that maybe took me.
Love it.
And like travel time probably took me like what, like an hour? Like it wasn't like
yeah,
long, but it was still pretty like I watched a movie.
I get it. I definitely don't miss like spending like hours on the train. Because like when I first moved to New York, I was like, I love being on the train. The subway is so cool. And now I'm just like, geez, I would rather do anything than sit on the train for more than like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and definitely depending where you are. Again, I went from I went from like a town to like a really nice area. So like obviously the people that I met weren't like super intense or super crazy. Like it was pretty chill. It was a lot of business people, a lot of students, and one of the bus stops was actually a private school and near UCLA where you're gonna go. So it was pretty chill. I think the only time that I had a bad experience was I had to go to Santa Monica and actually sprained my ankle in Santa Monica, like really bad. So I had to take the train to downtown LA, but then I got off on the wrong area, so I had to walk with my sprained ankle like
in downtown LA.
In downtown LA, and I walked like half a mile some way. And then I realized that the bus area was like wrong. So I had to go like the other way. And yeah, it was just kind of scary. I saw way too many people pee on the streets. It was good. It was a good time.
I get it.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, this has been a good talk. Again, it's great. I'm excited for you to move to LA.
Thank you, Daisy. It's always a pleasure.
And I give you all of my positive energy to you, and it's going to be okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
That was ATMI senior producers Quinn White and Daisy Carter. You've been listening to Podcasts in Place, Youth Stories from Quarantine from Alaska Teen Media Institute. Our show theme music was composed by Devin Sheckengos. Stay tuned for more stories from quarantine youth. You can find these stories at alaskateenmedia.org, where we have resources from youth during quarantine, as a part of a partnership with the State of Alaska Division of Behavioral Health. Many thanks to supporters of our podcasts, including the Anchorage Museum at Rasmussen Center, United Way of Anchorage, the Alaska Humanity Forum, and the National Endowment for the Humanities. The view expressed in this program do not necessarily represent the view of this National Endowment for the Humanities or other sponsors. Thanks to our listeners who contribute to our program and help us leverage to our additional funds and grants. If you'd like to support youth voices in Anchorage and keep our podcast going, you can donate to our organization by going to alaskateenmedia.org and click Donate. Also on our website, you can learn more about our organization, listen to past episodes of our podcast, or find out how you too can get involved. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For Alaska Teen Media Institute, I am AJ Yambao. Thanks for listening. Stay safe out there. We'll get through this together.